All right, thank you so much for that, Hussein. Like we say, tonight we're discussing teen pregnancy. Is it being addressed with the necessary seriousness? We'll get into it right now with our panelists, but first I'll introduce them to you. We have Lois Nor Okello, who is a counseling psychologist who has also dealt with issues surrounding teenage pregnancy. She'll give us some details on that. And then we have Anne Mitu. She has a 4-year-old son. She was a teenage mother. She'll tell us how she coped with that and how she's dealing with that now. She also has an initiative to reach out to women in that similar position. Then we have Kellen Karemi. She's a guardian. Her niece is 16 years old, who just gave birth to a baby who's now a month old. She'll take us through how she reacted and how she's dealing with having a new family member and the fact that her niece is only 16 years old. And we have Ginny Rizek from Crisis Pregnancy Ministries, who'll take us through what her organization has been able to do for teenagers who are pregnant. I should start with you, Anne, to just take us through your journey. You felt pregnant until the time you had your son. So take us through that.
I got pregnant when I was 19, immediately after finishing high school. My parents were really stressed out because I was supposed to go to college. Here I am, pregnant with a baby. I was really confused. I didn't know what to do. I turned to my sister. It was really crazy. But after all that debate, I decided to keep my pregnancy because it's a pregnancy. Yeah, so I got the baby. And then after 1 year and a half, my baby daddy passed away. So it was more stress on top of stress. It was really hard for me. It was very devastating.
Yeah. And you were you planning to start a family with him? Was this something that you saw as, I can handle this, we can grow into something more?
I thought we could handle it because I thought it was maybe he could help me much better because all the society had shut down completely. But again, it came as a blow to me because he passed away. So I had to deal with life differently. Here I am, and a young mother
on your own,
on my own, with a baby to feed. I don't work. I didn't have a job. It was crazy.
So what were you doing day by day to put food on the table for your son?
I decided not to cry no more. He's my son. I have to do it. So I used to go to Kikomba. Kikomba, I go and buy clothes. I come and sell them to my friends, to people around me. It really got tricky. I decided to sell bajia on the street. I go with my son, sit there, set up that kajiko, sell bajia, go home, count those shillings. Yeah, I did that.
Wow. Okay, we'll come back to you later as you take us through where you're at now in terms of the journey. And maybe, Ginny, this is where I could bring you into this. What do you do as Crisis Pregnancy Ministries? Do you see a lot of stories like Anne's, and how do you then deal with these girls?
Right, we do. We see a lot of girls who've either been raped, date raped, got involved with a fellow, an older person perhaps. They get pregnant and now they get very scared because maybe years ago mom and dad or one or the other said, don't ever walk into this house pregnant, we will kill you. And so they remember that, and they come and want to flush, want to get rid of this and get on with life. So we debrief with them, we talk with them, let them talk, and try to help them see where their strengths are, where their alternatives might lie. Like this case where there's a guardian that can possibly be supportive, and help them make a decision that they can live with the rest of their lives.
Right. All right. And that's where I'll bring you in, Kellen. Your niece had a baby. How did you react when she told you she's pregnant? Because you said she's an orphan, so you're essentially looking after her.
Yeah.
So how did you react?
I felt down. I cried, because I was called by the teacher, and she told me, your girl, she's pregnant. So I was like, oh, now I'm not married, I don't have a kid. Now I'll start a young family, and this family is not mine. So I felt bad, and this girl, she's kind of a self-centered. I had to look for guidance, people who can guide her, people who can talk to her, at least for her to open up to me.
Oh, she was very quiet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said that your family or people in society were telling you, encouraging you to tell her to abort.
Yes.
And you said no. Why?
I say no because there is life after giving birth. Yeah. And again, it's not good to take a life. Yeah. So I decided just to take her through because I knew everything that happens, it has a reason. So I just encouraged her, just cut them, baby. I'll be responsible, and I'll take you back to school. And from that time, that when she was okay. Yeah, and now at least she has a baby, 1 month and 2 weeks. She has gone back to school to do her KCP, which will start tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you're looking after the baby.
Yes.
So
yes.
essentially, you're also a young mom.
Yeah, now
You've taken on the role. Okay.
Yeah.
Lois, this is where I bring you in, and tell us about the situation regarding teen pregnancies in the country. Emotionally, what state are these girls in when they come to you for counseling, and what are the reasons mostly for why they get pregnant at such a young age?
You know, what I'm aware of, Janet, is that there's an increase in teenage pregnancy, and that is because of the phase that they are alternative, they are preventives, like the contraceptives that are being given, particularly the morning after pill, which the failure rate is really high. Now, there's also the use of condoms, which the young men try to use, but either they're not using them well, or maybe at one point they do stop. And so there's a lot of increase in that. Then we are also having a lot of dates, like Ginny was saying. They're going out, and there's a lot of drink lacing, you know, where now people are not aware of what they are doing because there's some drug that has been put. So there's bashes, the parties, and particularly, you know, we are going to have them leavers party, end year party, you know, all those kind of things.
And
so
that's when it's the situation.
Yeah, the situation just gets worse.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had even the football matches and everything else, rugbies and stuff. So there's that kind of an issue going on.
Yeah.
So there's an increase.
There's
really.
an increase.
Yeah.
And as a young person, are more young people generally in Kenya having sex, having unprotected sex? Is that something that you're seeing a lot more? And why?
Yeah, I think most young people are sexually active. I'm not sure why most of them they are, but I could categorize a few. I think peer pressure is involved in this whole thing.
What do you mean when you say peer pressure?
For example, I'll see my friend here is having, she has a boyfriend. She's sexually active. She comes and tells me everything. Oh, we're with Nani, we did this and this. So I'll get curious. I will want to know how she felt. So I'll go into it not knowing what I'm getting into. So I'm thinking that is another thing.
That's another reason.
Yeah.
You mentioned,
Janet, something interesting. Like for the past 3 or so months, I've had an opportunity to speak with a group. At every sitting, it's been like 50. And I asked this question, you know, like, if we are 50, can you perhaps just say what you think, how the many people you think in our midst here, the young people who are not having sex. And these were different forums in different areas. But each one of them said we cannot get 10. So what Anne is saying is true.
Yeah.
So out of 50, you cannot get 10.
Yeah.
You cannot even get more than 5.
But the question would be, are they really telling the truth? Because nowadays, if you're not sexually active, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
So they will even say they are sexually active when the truth is
They're not.
Yeah.
they're not.
Yeah.
So unless you really get to digging and find out on the quiet, whether, you know, one-on-one, not in a group, because the pressure, like you're talking, the peer pressure is there these days for people to be normal. Of course I'm doing sex. What do you think? There's something wrong with me. No,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah, but behind the scenes there are. You
Yes.
raised an issue about contraceptives, and I think that's something we were kind of having different views on. Do you think, Kellen, because you mentioned this, young girls as young as, I don't know, 14, 15, should be introduced to contraceptives? Is that, yeah? Do
Yeah,
you think
according
so?
to me, it is necessary for now, because as parents, they talk to them, these young girls and boys, yeah, they want to try it, yeah, and they'll try it without us knowing as parents. So according to me, it's important for us to introduce contraceptives.
To a 16-year-old?
Yes.
Do you agree?
Not
Do
really.
you agree?
No.
You don't, yeah.
Yeah, among other things, there are the physical, medical issues. You increase your risk of getting all sorts of cancers the younger you start with hormone,
Yeah.
messing with your hormones. And then also the whole issue of who am I? Am I a person of value because I'm having sex? Or am I a person of value because of my personality, because of my life dreams? Who am I? Am I going to go with this guy because he makes me promises, or I'm going to have sex with this girl because she's the coolest chick on campus? What is the real issue here?
Yeah.
And maybe I just want to support and say, have we got to a level that sex has become the most important thing, that we want to even introduce it and get to the issue of introducing contraceptives to 16-year-olds? Have we thrown up our hands in the air and we are saying that we can no longer now control the whole issue about sex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what the situation is, though? Have we?
Yeah.
Do you think that we've gotten to the point where it's almost out of control?
I want to believe that we have not got to a point where we are desperate to a point that we can say we now need to use contraceptives.
So, Anne, where do you think the issue is? We're seeing more teens being sexually active, whether it's peer pressure, etc. Why are they making that decision? I know you've mentioned peer pressure, but what is informing them? Is it the fact that there's no one to talk to them at home, no guidance from their parents, from guardians?
I think guardian, parents, and the society a whole are to be blamed to some extent to whatever is happening. Because you'll find a parent telling his or her kid, don't do this, and you don't explain. You don't just shout at your kid, don't do this, is bad. Take somebody, a mentor. There's always one aunt or an uncle they relate with. Take them, put them there, let them talk freely. Explain them to them. If you do this, these are the consequences, you know. But if you just brush on them, don't do this. I am a mother of, I'm a chama mother. The rest of the women will feel bad. No, don't do that to your kid.
Yeah.
Sit her down well with somebody who is open enough to talk to the kid. I think that's what parents are not doing at home.
Do you feel it would have made a difference in your life if someone had talked to you? Do you think you would have made a different decision?
Yeah, to some extent, yes.
Okay. So no one talks to you?
Oh, my dad. My dad used to tell me, don't do this, it's bad. He didn't really take me and sit me down and tell me, Anne, this and this and this and this. But again, there was a lot of pressure outside, apart from my dad, outside my friends, people out there. Where I come from the east side. So there were people there, so it was more peer pressure also.
Okay.
I get with her that she's saying if you keep telling people it's bad, they're going to finally go say, is it really bad?
Let me try.
Then,
try.
then if it's really bad, how come my parents, how come my grandparents, how come
Everyone's doing
everybody
it.
has done it in the
Yeah.
past, because otherwise I wouldn't even be here.
Yeah.
Why can't we go back to the positives?
Yeah.
Sex with the right person at the right time, in the right place,
Yeah.
is beautiful.
Let's hold that thought, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who might write in and say, in this day and age, that's not necessarily how it works. But we're going to take a break and come back in Monday Special. What are your thoughts? What are your questions? You can text us on 22422, include your name and location, or you can tweet us using the hashtag Monday Special KE. We'll take some of your views after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Monday Special. In just a few moments, we'll continue with our panel discussion and also take in some of your views. But right now, we'd also like to speak to a parent, a father, Dr. Henry Kagea. He was supposed to be with us. Unfortunately, as a doctor, he was on call and wasn't able to join us. We really wanted to get a parent's perspective and a father's perspective in that case as well. So I don't know whether he's online right now. Okay. Hello, Dr. Kagea. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you can. All right. Thank you so much for joining us on phone. And you have a daughter who's recently become a young mother. Tell us how you reacted when she came to you telling you that she's expecting a child.
It was devastating. You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on.
Yeah, it was devastating. You know, as a parent, there's a child I raised in church.
Mm-hmm.
I've done this and everything concerning her upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she'd be a very nice person, and unfortunately, she came. Okay, in fact, I didn't even know. I didn't know she was pregnant. I was called at school. Just told, come pick your daughter. She's pregnant.
Wow. And
so I rushed to school. In the night, it was late in the night, around 10, and I had to make our way with her.
All right.
So
how did you react to her? What did you say to her when you picked her up?
You know, it was some sort of unbelievable, because I had just taken her to school in a nice city school, and had paid school fees, and all of a sudden being told, come pick you. In fact, they didn't tell me to come. They told me she was very sick. I had to go pick her, take her to hospital. So I drove to school, picked her up. And when I was told that she was pregnant, I was devastated. So we just went home. In fact, we didn't talk on the way. We just went home. We didn't talk that night until the following morning. In fact, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, so as a parent.
Yeah.
So
how old is she? What class was she in?
Form 3 at 16 years.
16.
Yeah.
How did it affect your relationship with your daughter? How much did your relationship change when you found out that she was pregnant?
Okay, at first I was bitter. I was very bitter, but I somehow took heart that I'm a Christian. I blame myself. Maybe I wasn't too keen. But since it had happened, I had to look for avenues. But my real problem was that now these are a girl that I've really invested much in.
Yeah.
She's almost becoming a mother. I was not ready to become a grandfather at that age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was overwhelming.
My real problem was, maybe if she could have told me earlier on, maybe if I had known earlier on, I would have thought of an abortion.
You would have told her what about abortion?
I would considered.
You'd have considered abortion?
Yeah.
Wow. And then, so what changed? So there she is, she comes home, you take her home, she's pregnant.
Okay, she comes, she comes and, you know, in the last trimester.
Oh, okay.
Of her pregnancy.
Okay. Yeah.
So
it wasn't possible.
I'm wondering now what's this supposed to mean.
Yeah. Did she go back to school?
Okay. What happened? There is an organization called Crisis Pregnacy.
Yes, they're with us.
They were really of much help, because I was really mad. I didn't know what to do. So when I called some radio station, I visited a radio station where I go to church, the Nairobi Pentecostal Church. So they gave me the contact to the crisis pregnant because I had just gone there for some counseling because I wasn't really feeling well.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went there.
Yeah.
There is there's a lady there called Guinea.
Yeah, she's with us on set. Sorry, sir, I'll have to ask you to speed up a little bit because we want to ask you one or two other questions. So you're saying that crisis pregnancy was able to help you come to terms with the situation that you were. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, Dr. Kageha, what is your opinion behind the prevention of teen pregnancy? What are your thoughts on perhaps how it can be addressed or what can be done differently to address the issue?
Okay, for a start, we need to as parents, we need to sit with our daughters down and our sons also. We need to have quality times with them. Sometimes we live so much of them on their own,
Yeah.
and we underestimate what these guys know. You know, you might look at them and feel that they are innocent, but these teenagers know quite too much than you expect.
Yeah.
And there is too much peer pressure also in schools, in the neighborhoods. So what usually happens is that they are influenced much with what their peers think, perceive, and do. Yeah.
All right, Dr. Kageha, I really wish you were with us on set. There's so many more questions I'd have wanted to ask you. Unfortunately, because of time, we can't throw those questions to you. But thank you, and we wish you all the best, and we wish your daughter all the best as well. Thank you so much.
What I would like to say, she went back to school and repeated the class.
Oh,
but
good.
I wish I was there. One day, maybe in a nice arrangement, we'll come back.
You'll come.
Someone will start standing for me, unfortunately.
Okay. No, that's okay. That's okay, doctor.
Okay,
We understand you're a
thank you
doctor, so it's okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Welcome.
Okay.
I think, Janet, the reality of the overwhelming situation parents find themselves in, and then the first thing they run to is their spirituality. I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, you know. But then the reality is that a number of parents, just like Dr. has said, have actually considered and actually taken up abortion because parents quickly, adults quickly see the future and the struggles and the expenses and the costs. And also the emotional part, psychological, I'm not ready to be a grandparent, and anger, you know, sometimes either they abandon or they take them through.
Okay.
The best thing to do is to wait until the anger has settled so that you make a more rational decision. Yes.
Yeah.
Apart from the emotional aspect.
Because many times when they are angry, the first people they call is like, no, you need to get rid
of the baby. I want to ask more about how it affects family and also what you're doing as an organization in terms of maybe mentoring the young girls and also speak to you too. But for now, let's take a look at some tweets, whether they're comments or questions. Let's see what some of you are saying on social media. Let's see if we can bring that up. There we have it. Okay, on Twitter, we have @Collins Osana saying there is need to educate teenagers on self-respect and the consequences of irresponsible sex. Okay. Ayamuchuku Fred says with safe sex and sex education, you can reduce teenage pregnancies. Okay, and then @Ocheng_Philip says lack of parental guides, which we've heard of, poverty, peer pressure are some of the key reasons behind teen pregnancies. And then we have @Alex Omari 1, comprehensive sexuality education is required as it creates awareness in curbing this vice. And I think we have one more. And the buck stops with parents. They should take responsibility to shape the current teens. Always comes back to parents. And we've heard that a lot on this forum, which makes me wonder what's happening. Where is the disconnect between parenting and talking to teenagers in the country? But I think that's a whole other discussion. How does it affect family life when there's a pregnant teen? And I think after you comment, Kellen can come in, and then we'll ask you, Lois, about the boys. But how does it affect?
The doctor pointed out a few things, and one, it's very devastating. He had invested so much in his daughter, And now here there's suddenly his grandchild coming. You know, the shock and all of that, it's very destabilizing. Okay, so when young people get pregnant, it's not just themselves that are being affected. It's their immediate family and even their extended family that is going to be affected. So for that momentary whatever it was that got them pregnant, it's not worth it.
Okay.
It has such devastating effects.
Okay. How can they cope? How can the families cope?
And just quickly to add, Janet, that mostly people look, even the society and everyone else looks at the parent as a failure. That they have failed and the whole entire, you failed. And so there is that idea of trying to do very destructive things or even abandoning this child if they take in the shame and guilt and say we abandon, so that the society can look at us and think that we have kind of like disciplined and punished.
Okay, so how
the coping really, like Jeannie said, first and foremost, it is devastating. Someone needs to just absorb it and take a moment of just silence, like Daktari really took. He didn't speak to the child irrationally, and then ask for professional help, because a lot of it we have had professional help really got them to the right place. Go to a reasonable person who is going to actually direct you to a better place.
All right. And let me bring you in again. First of all, has your family embraced your life right now, or are they still in some sense of denial, would you say?
They have embraced it.
Okay.
They after a while of conflicts, this is not right, you didn't do the right thing, but finally they come and accepted it. And then they decided, now let's see what's next, what we can do from here.
Okay. And how did they step into, did they help you raise your son? Did they support you, whether it's financially?
They did. My father, I love him to death. He really supported me, and my mom also, and my sister. They've been there for me ever since, because after my baby daddy passed away, I was really freaked out. I was in this moment of denial for almost 6 months. I was just thinking, he'll come back. But time was going on. My mom told me, snap out of it. This is life, you have to face it. They have really been supportive.
And now, what are you doing? Have you come out of that sort of grief and you're now moving on with your life? When we asked you just a few minutes ago, you said you were selling bhajias with your son by your side. Where are you now? How have you kind of taken yourself out of that situation?
Right now, I'm an actress. I also do production continuity. I met this lady called May Merimo in Spillworks. She taught me continuity. She believed in me. I've done like 3 or 4 production on my own. I'm in a show called Jungle Lab. So what I did is I spoke with the inner Anne, and I told her, you know what, Anne, this is us against the world. We have to do this. Because I believe life after the pregnancy is really hard, really, really hard. If you're able to snap out of that, you can do it, because you have dreams, you have career to follow.
Okay. And in just a few minutes, I'll ask you about what you're doing with other young mothers, a fantastic initiative, and you as well, Kellen, how you're taking care. Tell us about how it affects the boy child. This boy has become a young father. Suddenly, what happens to the boy child, and how can we talk to young men about teen pregnancies?
Janet, I think first of all, the society has really protected the boys, and even that's Kellen has even protected the fathers, the father of the child, because if she feels he's too young. How about the mother? So there's that protection that has been given to the boys. And whenever they are being told, it's sort of like being told in some secret, or whoever is telling them overheard that I'm told you're the one responsible for this child. And they go straight into denial. And they deny and deny. And a lot of fathers have denied their children. So a lot of young mothers are just walking with children who have been denied. And that worries me as a psychologist, because a few of them now begin to reject the child as well. The only amazing thing, like Anne said, babies have a way of just bringing life.
Yes.
So you find even when they were rejected, even when the grandmother like Daktari, but some when they start growing up in the house, they bring a lot of life.
So how do we talk these young men out of rejecting or denying? What are the ways that we can begin to speak to young men about it?
I basically feel the
And how
moment,
you do it as a psychologist
the
with
moment, I think the approach now that we're using is when this girl announces this pregnancy, then she should also bring in the father of the child. Now, the challenge that I've found, Janet, sometimes is that this girl may have had multiple sex.
So she doesn't know who the father
so
is.
she may not know who the father is.
Okay.
In such a case, then, the people have to wait really for a DNA.
Okay.
Or sometimes the traditional way of looking at the ears and the eyes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry,
like
time
who?
is so bad. I want to get to the point of how do we then get this young man to accept? What are the ways that they can be talked to? What can they be told to not go into denial? What would you say? What tips can you equip parents with when it comes to talking to these young boys and making them realize that they now have a child?
It goes back to the same issue, plainly straight, that whenever we are talking about pregnancy, we talk to both the male
Boys
child
and the girls.
and the girl child.
Yeah.
Because they are all responsible. We have to speak to all of them with the same strength, with the same emphasis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You were saying that you would rather raise this baby without the other parent knowing. Why?
Because I would like this child to have the best education. And when I look at that family, they are kind of irresponsible, yeah? And that's the reason why I'm saying, okay, because God at least He has blessed me with little cash, maybe I can raise these children, then my niece and the
baby,
kin,
yeah.
at least to get the best education, because I cannot just sit back and look this kid suffering.
What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you that we must talk to the boys. We must. The program that we have, the Worth the Wait abstinence program, we don't just go to the girls' schools. We go to the boys' schools. We go to the mixed schools. And we have young boys and young girls who are the peer educators that stand up in front of this class and engage the students in a conversation. And they get to sharing ideas, and they get to sharing the truth of sexual activity and how self-esteem, how a guy can feel good about himself even if he's a virgin. He doesn't have to feel like he's out in left field somewhere because he hasn't had sex yet.
Yeah.
You know, he's waiting. Why is he waiting? Well, because maybe he got to hear somewhere that it's better you wait.
All right. And then just going back to her issue about telling. So you're agreeing like they should know.
They absolutely should know.
So it might catch up with you.
Yes. And remember, Janet,
Yeah.
she cannot be a father to that child.
Yes.
At all.
Yeah.
And that child will need a father, whatever situation and the
All right.
circumstance.
Jimmy, could you tell us a little bit more about some of the ways that you mentor the girls? What activities? What kind of training? How do you prepare them to go back out into the world?
We do have a very small, modest program in one of the slum areas here in Nairobi, where we help teach tailoring skills, stitching. They make beautiful beads out of paper, and learn how to make crafts, those kinds of things to help get some sort of a living doing something besides prostituting themselves. Okay? And that's one of the things that we do. We also talk with them about self-esteem issues. What is the next, like you've said, the pregnancy is not the end of your life. What do you want to do with your life? What were your plans beforehand? What can you do to now carry forward with those plans?
Yeah. And you're doing something similar. Tell us a little bit about how you are reaching out to other young mothers.
I have a movement called Young Mothers Africa, because I was thinking, since I'm a young mother, it's much easier to relate with young mothers, you know. So it's around creating awareness around early pregnancy, how to curb it, and mainly life after the fact, because that's where we're losing our girls.
Okay.
They're giving up completely.
Okay. Has it affected your outlook on marriage or having other children, would you say? Or is there a part of you that still wants that life?
Not really. I'm not ready yet. I have my dreams to accomplish. I have a career to attend to, you know. So what I want to tell these young mothers who have already have a kid, if you had a career, you had that dream you always wanted to accomplish, the kid is already in the world. Let's take that step.
Okay.
Let's get out of that comfort zone. Let's take that step. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
We're winding up, so I just want to get some final comments all around, and we'll start with you, Lois. There's so much more we could have gone through in terms of even religion and schools, etc. But what's your parting shot in terms of dealing with teen pregnancy?
Yeah, the parting shot is that there is need to realize that teenage pregnancy is really complex, and the moment a baby comes into your life, there are certain freedoms that will be curtailed, really. As much as you'd want to push, there are certain areas that will really maybe wait, which could have really been done at that time.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Jeannie?
I would encourage people to get to realize that sexual activity is beautiful. In the right place, at the right time, with the right person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So going back to values.
Values,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Kellen?
Okay, what I would just like to say is parents need to talk to their children very well. And even sex education, it's supposed to be in school. Yeah. And churches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your parting shot.
I would like to reach out to that young mother out there. If you feel like you need to talk to someone, I have a page on Facebook, Young Mother Africa, on Twitter, Young Mothers Kenya. Kindly talk to us. I'll openly talk to you. Feel free. Please don't give up on life. We still have a whole new life to. It's just the beginning. There is a long way to go.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all so much for your encouragement and words of wisdom. We'll come back after this short break with Hussein Mohammed to wind up and take some of your feedback as well. We're back, and Hussein joins me in studio with some of your final comments as well. But first, we'll take a look at Twitter.
Okay, and to start with Zach Minor. The only effective way is abstaining, and this is what we should encourage them to do, but not safe sex.
Okay. At KJ5, don't blame the teens, blame the society. Our morals were buried a long time ago. Wow, strong statement.
At Maverick Nyambo, it's imperative parents and pediatricians educate teens on their reproductive health care.
Okay, at Emma Mogaka says, provide teens with the correct information about sex. Comprehensive sexuality education in schools and churches is important.
And at Nova Scott, what teenagers need is information, not contraceptives. Let's not open that Pandora's box.
Although I think it's been opened.
Yeah.
At Domi_Arwasa says, ignorance among the teenagers who think they are doing what they're doing is correct is a cause behind teen pregnancy.
At Peskif21, it's the high time people realize the world is changing at a fast rate, so more mentorship should be applied.
Is this the last one? At the Black Child, our parents should talk to us more. Otherwise, we will learn from our peers and our curiosity will kill us. Okay.
Right, on 22422 is the dangers you're talking about, Janet, in the discussion. I got pregnant at 19 and I love my baby girl, but I'm now tied to her father, whom I don't love anymore.
Wow.
And then Father Benson Salonik in Narrow County, the whole subject of sex has been treated casually with shame, fear, suspicion, secrecy, and condemnation, as well as making both young and old members of society fall victims of this negative attitude. The truth and meaning of human sexuality must be taught in competence.
Okay.
And Mama Shiru from Limuru, I got pregnant at 16, though my parents supported me and got me back to school. Let no one tell us it's easy. I'm now independent and a police officer, for that matter, but that issue still stresses me and can't date anymore. Please talk to young girls. I'm 32 years and my daughter is 16, but I love her, though sometimes I can't handle it.
Wow, very powerful views from all of you. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and, you know, asking your questions. I'm Janet Mbogwa. Thank you for watching Monday Special, and have a good night.
Good night, Amuseno.